Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Wealth and Wisdom with Fred Belcastro from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich on Friday, September the 11th, the year of our Lord, 2015. And now, here he is, live and in person, Mr. Fred Belcastro.
And the whole world smiles with you. And when you're laughing, oh, you're laughing. When the sun comes shining through. When you're crying, you bring on the rain. Stop your sighing. Won't you be happy again? When you're smiling, keep on smiling. And the whole world smiles.
Good morning and welcome once again to the Wealth and Wisdom program. My name is Fred Belcastro, your host, and during the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk about how we could use our wisdom to grow and protect our wealth. And as usual, we're broadcasting here from the John DeVita Broadcast Center here on the northwest side of Chicago, and you're listening to us this morning at Jack FM 89.7 WRHS out of Norwich, Illinois. We've talked about a number of things, and I've looked at some past notes. As I mentioned, like Ray Rayner, I've got little stickums and little notes all over. Talked about Social Security and the minimum deposits required at 70.5, the 401 rollovers, and we're going to withdraw the money prior, or how we're going to reduce the amount of taxes that are payable at that time, and various subjects. And one of the things I have to stick with and stay is, of course, to begin our seriousness about the financial future that we all have. You know, it comes upon us like a freight train. It's going to hit us at some point in our lives, and of course we hope to be able to retire someday, but we're not going to be able to do that unless we consider very strongly, very seriously, a couple of questions. And the questions that I talk about each week is, of course, the rate of return, what we have to save, how long we'll have to work, and if we don't do those things, how we have to reduce our standard of living. And I want to point out that this is a service that takes maybe 10 minutes over the phone or over the internet to take care of, and it doesn't involve anything other than me giving you the answers to these questions. The thing I want to stress or point out here is that I'm not selling anything in doing this. There's nothing to buy. These are your figures, your results. So you're not going to be asked to buy anything or do anything other than take the information and use it to your advantage. You know, we talk about the amount that we're going to have at retirement. How do we know what we're going to have at retirement if we don't, first of all, look at the foundation? What do we have as far as a pension? Do we have a pension? How does the withholding, the windfall elimination affect us and affect our pension to ourselves and our spouse? Those things have to be taken care of or put down on paper so that we know what the foundation or what the basis of our pension is before we start saying we need this or we need that, or I've got to invest in this mutual fund or go to the mutual fund store. And what do you think you're going to buy when you go to the mutual fund? You think you're going to buy a mutual fund? Yeah, probably, right? It's a mutual fund store, just like H.H. Gregg. What do you think you're going to buy when you walk into H.H. Gregg? But nevertheless, before we do all that, we've got to make a decision about the $500,000 that we already have. And we're not to take that $500,000 lightly. That's a lot of money. What I'm talking about is the average household retiring stands to receiving approximately $500,000 to $550,000 of benefits over the course of the retirement. Though, isn't it important that we at least take a look at some of that and see what's available to us and how we can best maximize that income during our lifetime? But the rate of return is important, and we have to look at what do we have to earn on our money today in order to retire at our current standard of living and have our money last. I mean, it's saying that, well, our life expectancy is 84. Are we going to drop dead at 82 or 83, or we're going to stop living or breathing at 84 because the tables tell us that, not live to 92 or 96 or whatever years that we have on the earth? This money has to last. So what rate of return do we need? Another is that how much do you need to save? That's a big question. I've been talking about that. Listen, I've received Social Security. My wife received Social Security. I did start in this business in 1963. I don't like to belabor that, but nevertheless, my years as a stockbroker, as an insurance broker, have accumulated to over 50 years, 52 years. So when I first started in this business, I started with Metropolitan Life, and I started in this area because I was from Elmwood Park. I started talking about you'll earn a fortune between this your first paycheck and last paycheck, a 40-year period of time. And we talked about it in those days of earning $10,000 or $12,000, $15,000, not 90, 100, 135, $40,000 that being paid and earned today because of inflation. But I've been doing this for a long time, and it all starts with the savings. You know, are you saving? First of all, look, why are you working? Why do we get up at 5 o'clock or 4:30 in the morning? Why do we shovel the snow to get our cars out of the parking places or out of the garage? Or how do we worry about getting through the alleys on some of those winter mornings? You know, we say, well, Fred, why am I working? I'm working to pay the house payments for the food. I got car payments, and I work for my family. That's what I do. But then, who gets the money? We're talking about saving now. Who gets your money? Think about it for a while. You might say, well, Fred, the mortgage company, the banks, they get the money for that. My car is financed, GMAC or Ford Motor Finance or whomever finances my car. We go to the grocery store. We go to Jules, Mariano's here on Lawrence. We pay for the utilities, the cell phones, the internet, the cable. When we started in this business, if I said cable and internet, they'd say, what are you talking about? There is no such thing. But here we are now paying cable bills. We've had insurance, credit cards, and their responsibility to the Lord, to our church. But think about this. If you do all the work and spend all the time working, it's your sweat. I talk about the energy, about the efforts that we put in. Shouldn't we be keeping some of the money that we earn? I mean, do we have to give it all away? We work hard. We pay the bills. We try to be a good person. We've learned that being a good person is living up to your responsibilities, taking care of these things. Where does savings come in? You know, but we keep earning a check. We keep earning money. We have money deposited, direct deposit to checks, direct deposit. Money's like that. It pretends to be something that we actually have, even if we don't have anything. That's why I love the concept of a mirage. A mirage is something that's out there. You've seen them in the movies, or depicting a desert, and you see this image of a lake or a water or oasis. It's a welcome sight. It promises relief. But money is like a mirage. It promises relief, but doesn't really provide any, because at the same time we have to continuously work for that mirage, waiting. I was a young kid when I started. I was about 23, 25, and I'd have adults 40, 45 years old saying, we'll be set when the kids finish school. Yeah, we're going to be set when this happens or that event takes place. We're going to be sitting pretty once the kids are through with college. Once we're retired, we're going to be... And it never seems to happen. There's the mirage. It always seems that something in the future is going to make it possible to provide that, whoa, that stroke of relief. But at the same time, I'd like to ask you a question. Why don't you get to keep the money you work? Think about it hard. Think about it. Really think about it. Pray over it if you have to. But why is it that we work constantly for 40 or 45 years just to spend all the money we get, or a good portion of the money we get, or more than 90%, more than 93%? If we're spending, as we've said on the program and what statistics have showed us, that we're spending 34% of our dollars, of our take-home pay, to satisfy debt service, money and interest payments on these car loans, credit cards, and what have you. We're paying all that. What do we get to keep? What do we wind up? So when I say, are you serious about your financial future? Are you serious about retirement? How much do you need to save? Well, what save? You see, what, 3% of our income we're saving? We do all the work. Certainly we should keep some more of that money coming in. You know, do you work just to pay it all to somebody else? Everyone else but yourself? Remember years and years ago when we first started talking to individuals, we talked about two types of people. There's the spenders and the savers. Remember that? It's as simple as that. People that save and people that spend. They save and then spend, and then there's those that spend and then save. The interesting thing is that if we don't pay ourselves first, the people that spend and then save will always work for the people that save and then spend what's left. I had a mentor. He's passed away some years ago. Individual earned a fortune that was earning and saving his money and saving and just living on the balance. He said, Fred, I've got people that work for me that have more money than I do. I pay them more than I pay myself because of the requirements of just saving some of the money, putting some of the money aside. Built a very well-known company on the northwest side and the northwest suburbs. But I think we have to at times stop what we're doing, sit down seriously with our spouse or with ourselves, and those moments that we have, sipping on a cup of coffee and saying, what about some of these questions? Is it really smart to save? How do I go about saving? Why does some people save first and then spend later when they have all these bills? What's the big deal? What's the difference? Let me just point out to you the way we think, right? All of us that have worked for the last 40, 50 years, listen, I'm in my 70s. I'm still working. I still have the license. I still have the but anyway, that what I have is what I'm still active in the business because I enjoy the business. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy helping the people. Like, how much do you need at retirement? What am I selling over the radio? What am I selling over the internet? I'm not selling anything. I give you the answer to these questions in less than 10 minutes. Don't you want to know? Okay, but let's get back to the point. If you needed to paint your house, you hear on the radio this sort of. But nevertheless, you were going to paint the outside of the house. You hire a painter. Painter, you got to pay the guy because the work is exchanged for money. You give him money, he'll do the work. That's the way it works. That's the system. But if you had to muzzle the painter, he'd not be able to benefit from his labor because if he was handicapped, if you didn't pay him, he wouldn't have money to eat. He couldn't endure. He couldn't live, and he couldn't do any more work. If you didn't pay him, he'd not be able to feed himself. He wouldn't be able to buy the brushes or travel or get to the job site to continue working. You see, today's world, you pay for that work, and you pay for it with money. We can all agree on that. You've got to pay the man for doing the work. But what most people do is they muzzle themselves and they don't get any real benefit from their labor. Why don't we take a break right here and see if we can make a wish that makes some of these things happen for us.
Where are you, little star?
Where are you?
Oh, rat-a-tat-tat-too. God, send me love. Oh, there you are, lighting up the sky. I need a love, oh me, my. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. Wish I might make this wish come true tonight. Oh, ra-da-da-da-doo. Oh, ra-da-da-da-doo. Ooh, ra-da-da-doo. There you are, little star.
Did you remember that? Well, if you were around and dancing around 1958, you would have danced to that song, sung by the Elegants. Now, when you talk about the Elegants, you talk about 5, 6 guys from the I don't really know where they're from the East Coast, of course. That's where a lot of the groups came from. Nevertheless, that was the only hit that I found that the Elegants had made. 5 or 6 Italian kids that went on to sing together, and I understand that for the most part they're still performing out on the East Coast. The Elegants. Well, here we're talking about paying our bills. Everyone gets to enjoy the money that we've earned if we don't save. Of course, we've got to pay the painter, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. Everyone gets paid except us, So, but when we work every day. Do we pay ourselves? Is there something that we can keep? Most of us work every day, and you know what we get to keep at the end of the time? Nothing. Is that fun? Is that fun to realize and remember that saying, gee, I've worked for 45 years, and this is what I've accumulated? So why? Well, why aren't we saving the money? Well, the answer, we've been doing this on the program, is to transfer the expenses that we pay. If we're paying 34%, once again, in debt service, it makes it very difficult. So, yeah, some planning has to be done. Some looking at the transference of the dollars. It's simple. We could say that, well, I don't make enough, but Northcote, an individual years ago, a philosopher, said that money expands, the budget expands to meet the expenses, and whatever amount of money that we earn, we're going to find a place to put it. The luxuries that we enjoyed today become the necessities of tomorrow, and so we just do it. Case in point was the color TVs, the big 5-foot TVs, the internet expenses, and the cables, and so on. $150 a month. It's a lot of money, but the more we make, the more we spend. And then again, too, the more bills and the more money, because there's so many things that we feel as though we need. We need this cable. We can't do without the TVs and the fancy things and the tour. Look, you can't find a parking place in front of the houses today. And we're here from Norwich. Parking places are all taken when they sweep and clean one side of the street. Where do you put your car? On top of one another. We have 2 and 3 cars in a family. That was never the case years ago when we were growing up. If you had one car, you were a fortunate family. So, but this is not the real thing. Ask yourself the question. More and more of our money is being spent on these necessities. But do we have more than we need to make a mortgage payment or a car payment? And does the bank really care about anything else? Are we being trained to believe that we really don't need money? No, I'm serious. Are we trained to think that we don't need money? We get a Social Security check. I don't have to save. I get a Social Security check. I don't have to save. I got my pension coming in. I don't have to save. I need money. I've got to put it on the card. Put it on the. I see people at McDonald's now doing passes with their debit cards or credit cards. We have, I need a new suit. I can go over here to Carson's and put it on the charge card. I've got a revolving credit card there or whatever they have. I don't have one there. I don't do that. Try to stay away from all the debt expense, interest expense. Do you want a new TV or a new computer or a new stove, washer? It's Greg. We don't even have to walk far if we live in the vicinity of Harlem Irving. Food, we've got these stores that take credit cards, debit cards. Apt, we need an appliance. We've got credit at Apt. We got tires. You go to the tire store right here on Harlem Avenue. You don't have to do it. We just keep getting stamps and government surplus, government supplies, and so on and so forth. Are we trained to say, hey, we don't have to save. We can enjoy life as it is. Devil me care. Enjoy yourself. Life is short. I don't know. Some of these banks really don't care about a financial future for us as long as what? As long as they make the payments, my friend. You want to put a cup of coffee at the McDonald's on a charge card? Pay the bill. Pay the charge card. Pay the debit card. As long as your payments and fees are covered, they don't care. They don't worry about, gee, I can't make the payment now. My kid is sick. Pay the bill. My wife can't work. She got hurt in the job. Got medical expenses. We got to pay the deductible, co-pay on our insurance. Pay the bank. Pay the credit cards. Your home, the air conditioner broke or the heater's broke. We got to get the heater repaired now. We've got some days coming up in the 60s and lower. Pay the bank. Pay the charge cards. Pay the car payments. If you don't, they'll take it away. They'll take you to court. They'll take your income away. They'll do something with your wages. They'll put liens on your property. They'll sell your property if you don't pay your taxes. They simply wants their money. And you've agreed to it. You've said you're going to pay them back. But you see, by utilizing all these things, by not saving our money, whenever there's an emergency or something will come up, something came up. There's an emergency. What is it, an emergency, a shock? Is it a surprise that things come up? You know, Money Magazine some time ago said the average household within 5 years will have a $5,000 emergency expense. For sure, for certain. How come we're not saving for that? Do we put money aside other than our qualified plans? It's unbelievable. Pay yourself first, just like you pay your creditors. That has to be done. Why don't we take a break and give me a chance to take a sip of coffee here and listen to how we're being thrown around.
Say that she's no good. She's a
Whoa, what did I do? Play another Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons again? Yeah, that was Ragdoll, and I thought that was appropriate because sometimes we're just tossed around like a ragdoll. That comes in 1964, and listen, I talk about saving. It's not to be wealthy, not to be rich. You know, you don't have to be rich or to be the wealthiest man in the world to realize that you've got to pay yourself first. We're proud people. Let's not just wait until we're age 60, 65, unable to do anything about it. Don't let them determine and dictate, whoever thems are, don't let them determine and dictate your quality of life. So take a look. What rate of return do we need? Because that time's coming. How much more do we need to save? We've talked about that. We beat that to death today, didn't we? And how long will we have to work? Not because we enjoy that. There's some of us that are going to retire. I tell people I'm going to retire about 9 or 15 years after I'm dead. But that's because I've been fortunate enough to be self-employed my whole working career. But how much longer will you have to work just to make ends meet? And of course, if we don't do these things, how much will we have to, and will we have to reduce our standard of living in order to make ends meet? And I'm not talking about just the day-to-day living expenses. We've had individuals and friends that come up with these terrible, terrible sicknesses, heart attacks and strokes and dementia, problems like that, cancer in our own family and myself. Things happen, and we can't avoid it as long as we're alive. We can't avoid some of these things to occur. And you want to know something? All these things are difficult to undertake and accept. But it's always a little bit easier if we can accept it with a pocket full of money. If we have the cash in which we can enjoy and do the things that we like to do with the people that we care and love. So, thinking about that, why don't we just end this program now because our time is up. But think about the people you care about. Think about the people you love. And don't let a day go by without saying, I love you. All right? Let's go out our way, and during the next few days until we talk again next week, let's do something good for somebody and make somebody smile, huh? All right, thanks for listening. Talk to you again next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
When you're smiling, when you're smiling, when you're smiling, when you're smiling, and the whole world smiles with you. And when you're laughing, oh, you're laughing, when the sun comes shining through. When you're crying, you bring on the rain. Stop your sighing. Won't you be happy again? When you're smiling, keep on smiling, and the world will smile with you. Let's go now.
You have been listening to Wealth and Wisdom with Fred Belcastro from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norge and the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Friday, September the 11th, the year of our Lord 2015. This broadcast was directed by John DeVita. Our special thanks to radio station manager Kevin Zeflik of WRHS FM Norwich and the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Seconda. Until next time, please be safe and thanks for listening. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Wednesday, September the 8th, the year of our Lord 2015. Have a good day, everyone. And this is Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich, a Ridgewood High School community radio station. Thanks for listening. God bless you and Have a great day, everyone.